Okay, Bismillah, Assalamualaikum and good night, good evening to everyone. Here in Sekolah Crypto, there is another session for tonight where we have a very special guest from MyEG, where we will be joining by Mr. Johan Nasir, which is the Business Development Director of Southeast Asia for NFTPangolin, and also his colleague, Adam Harris, also from MyEG. Welcome, Mr. Johan and Mr. Adam.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you for having us.
All right. Okay. We are glad actually to have you to be part of our sharing session of Sekolah Crypto. So for those who are joining our live session, Sekolah Crypto is a non-profit organization where our goal and purpose is actually to educate the people, especially Malaysian, on the Web 3.0 world, crypto, blockchain, and everything about this new exciting technology. So for tonight, we have an AMS session or Ask Me Anything with Mr. Johan and Mr. Adam representing NFTPangolin or represent from MyEG to explain or to answer any of your questions about NFTPangolin and Zetrix Blockchain. Because recently, I think MyEG is in the hot status right now. I think there's a lot of news, several news recently, the past weeks about MyEG, about Zetrix. So there's a lot of things going on with Zetrix and NFTPangolin. So, all right, without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Johan and also Mr. Adam. First, just to introduce a bit on the background and also about the Zetrix and also the NFTPangolin.
Sure. NFTPangolin is basically a dual marketplace. We're kind of unique in the sense whereby we have two marketplaces, like a Lazada and a Shopee at the same time. One of the first marketplace is powered by OpenSea. So that's connected to OpenSea. So whatever you list with us also appears on OpenSea and vice versa. And so you get, buyers can buy either from Pangolin or from OpenSea directly at the same time, right? And it will be synced. And we created a second marketplace running our layer 1 blockchain, which is called Zetrix. So Adam is from the Zetrix team. So at the end of the day, we have our own layer 1 blockchain, which I think a lot of people have read about that in the news. MyEG has about 6 to 7 new subsidiaries in the Web3 space. So that's why we're doing a lot of things. And that's why you're hearing about us all the time, making a lot of announcements here and there because there's so many things going on within our company. And of course, as an OpenSea as well as Zetrix marketplace, we cover 3 different chains, Polygon, Ethereum, as well as Zetrix tokens. So that's a little bit about NFTPangolin, and we hope to be the OpenSea of Asia.
Interesting. All right. Okay, so that's the first question on the NFTPangolin and also Zetrix. Okay, on the next question is actually about the partners. Based on the news, it shows that there's it's stated that MyEG is actually partnering with Xinghuo BIF to introduce Web3 services. Can you explain more on that? And also in the recent news, partnering with Mbank, also on the partnering with Mimos to launch the mainnet. Any comment on that?
So there's quite a few news. So the first one is probably more or less to get an understanding about Zetrix as a blockchain. And so China's government, they want to do their digital yuan. And of course, for them to do digital yuan, they need to have their own blockchain infrastructure for their whole country. And so they developed that Xinghuo blockchain infrastructure and network, or XBIF as it's known, to support that digital yuan initiative. And at the same time, the company or the people, the developers behind that same blockchain also were engaged by MyEG to develop the Zetrix blockchain but Zetrix Blockchain is owned by MyEG and it's global. We have nodes all around the world. You can probably see how many nodes we have through zetrix.com. And at the same time, you know, it's meant to be a global blockchain. We just share the same developer, you know. It's just like Geely developing for Geely in China and Geely develops Proton for Malaysia kind of thing, right? So in that same context, but the two are not, the Zetrix blockchain is not owned by China government anyway. It's actually by MyEG. And so, but what's unique about it, because we share the same, you know, developer, there's some cross compatibility between the Zingho network and the Zetrix blockchain, which is kind of cool because you got two blockchains that can talk to each other. And one of the companies that we saw recently, you know, was proposing a halal verification, you know, supply chain product. And this is where between China and ASEAN region, we could use the Zetrix blockchain for that kind of cross-border applications because the blockchains can talk to each other. What's unique about Zetrix is that it is the only blockchain in the entire world that has a node that is connected to the Zingho blockchain infrastructure in China. And that's a very interesting fact because no other blockchain has access to, you know, or people outside of China do not have access to that Zingho network. And so Zetrix is the only blockchain, and it's exclusive. Over the next 2 more years, we signed a government-to-government deal with them last year for a 3-year exclusivity. So 1 year has passed, we got 2 more years. Why? Because China is, you know, wants to experiment and see how, you know, Chinese yuan could also play a role in the global economy in the long run through the blockchain itself. And of course, Zetrix plays a huge role as a partnership with, you know, them on this. At the same time, we also made a recent announcement with Mimos Global, and the Prime Minister officiated the MOU. And I think the Malaysian government is also looking at blockchain infrastructure. So Mimos and Zetrix are working closely together to develop a national blockchain. Of course, sharing some of that Zetrix blockchain infrastructure and seeing how that can be applied for government services use. And so it's a very interesting, how to say, development that Zetrix has, you know, gotten that recognition right now as one of the national blockchain projects as well. So NBank is to look at the cross-border trade financing element. So, you know, when you look at cross-border trade, cross-border payments and remittance and all that stuff, we need a banking partner, and NBank, you know, is the first bank that we are partnering with to do this cross-border trade financing facility through Zetrix as well. So that's the 3 major announcements that we made recently.
Yep. So it's awesome saying, hearing a lot of good news, especially as a Malaysian company, and then so it's moving quite fast in the region, and the first company in the world that's be able to connect with the China ecosystem itself. So this is quite amazing, and as a Malaysian, it's something that to be proud of. And then I mean, does that mean that this is a centralized a bit, or is it just a decentralized, or is it a bit?
It's definitely a decentralized. I mean, when you look at majority of blockchains around the world, there's always this huge debate between, you know, the tech nerds, so to say, you know, about decentralized or centralized blockchains. Actually, most blockchains, the only one I would really consider totally decentralized is Bitcoin. Because you look at even Ethereum to a certain extent, you know, has Ethereum Foundation. So is it really decentralized? You know, you got all the other blockchains as well being created by either individuals or corporations, you know, and especially those companies that are running those foundations or blockchains, even Algorand for that matter, right? It's not 100% decentralized. And so it really doesn't matter whether it's decentralized or not, because what really matters to the most users of blockchain out there is that you have a blockchain to store secure data on. And, I think MyEG is a company that, has been trusted by our 10 million plus customers to do e-government transactions, right? And yes, we can use MyEG as a template or a company that's trustworthy enough to handle those data in some ways. But at the same time, we're looking beyond Malaysia. We're looking at, what can we do as a blockchain around the world? How do we position Zetrix to be as famous as, your Solanas and Tezos and BNB chains out there? And again, does chain really matter when there's so many choices that you have? There's very little difference between those chains anyway, because what really matters is you buy something or you transact something on a chain, you just know it works, and you just make sure that that chain has the trifecta of scalability, security, and decentralization to some extent, right? And so that's what matters to the end user. So chains don't really, I foresee down the road chains will be a bit invisible. Just like you have different internet protocols, nobody really cares about the protocols, can? Down the line is just that, can I download something? Can I view something? And that's what the end user wants to see. So us having a chain is an advantage for us because Zetrix does comply with ESG goals and all that stuff. We are a proof of stake chain, and therefore we are very environmentally friendly. It's a lightning fast network as well. We are able to process about 10,000 transactions per second. Bitcoin can only do about 7 to 8 transactions per second. Ethernet maybe about 1,200 to 1,500 transactions per second. So it is quite fast. It is scalable because we have more nodes being added when more proof of stake nodes are created, and we have high security as well. Because you look at China, they are already using, as internet protocol goes, when we are using IPv6 or IPv4 in some cases. Okay? China is already using IPv9. They are way, way ahead. And so because of that kind of infrastructure that they have, of course, the security measures are a lot more higher. And if, the Chinese government is developing something like Xinghuo, they have to make sure as their national blockchain has the highest level of security. You cannot have any compromise on security when it's a China's national blockchain. So when the same people develop that for Zetrix, we know Zetrix has high security features as well. So that's for the peace of mind of people who are using Zetrix.
Yeah, it's interesting that you brought up the security because I think these past few days there's several news about several blockchains or even the DeFi has been hacked and millions and has been stolen. And this is something that I think some people has been looking on the security, how safe is the ecosystem and everything. Okay, the next question that we have is actually in Malaysia, there's a lot of NFT artists. Okay. So what's the potential that they have in NFTPangolin for the creator, digital artists, compared to other platforms, Pentas.io, OpenSea, or anything else?
Well, when I look at the global NFT trends at the moment or the market condition, kan, semua orang kata kita dalam musim sejuk sekarang, winter, and when it is true because to me, regardless of the platforms that exist, whether be it Pentas, Pangolin, Tapir, and a few more within Malaysia as well, and even regionally or globally, almost every marketplace out there is having a bit of downtime lah, right? Because markets are down, crypto is down, and NFT pun banyak. There's how do I say, overload of content being produced by a lot of creative people from all over the world. And so, when you have oversupply of NFT content and at the same time the buyer's market or the demand market is not really strong enough to buy all of this, then you get what I call an imbalance lah, you get a super inflation of supply and you got a deflation of buyers, kan? It's basic economy. So we engage with a lot of artists, and a lot of people are curious about putting stuff on either one of our marketplace, either the OpenSea side or the Zetrix marketplace. Pentas is great because I'm very close to the Pentas boys, Ishad, Mo, and the gang. We talk to each other all the time. We get to talk at events all the time together as well. And I have high respect for what they've accomplished through their community. Their community is really, what helps each other. But that can only go so far, kan? When you have a community group, you also have the people who are outside that community group. And you have to look at ways to increase the community size in order for larger mass market transaction volume to happen. And so while I support and love the Pentas communities, members who are supportive of each other, if somebody comes up with an NFT project, the artist, helps and supports those artists and buy their NFT projects and all that stuff. For Pangolin, we take a slightly different route because it's a bit longer term approach, but we are casting a bigger net because our goal is to look at the ASEAN market, and that ASEAN or Asian market is from buyers in China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, ASEAN countries, right down to Australia. Why? Because we realize that a lot of buyers in this region are scattered everywhere. They're not just in Malaysia. And if we want to really grow Malaysian artists to be exported, and for us to be very proud of Malaysian artists having sales from overseas buyers, it's like export. We're always happy when we can export great talent and great creativity from Malaysia to other countries. And so we are making that steps to invest into building a more regional community and customer base, so that it helps our Malaysian artists get, visibility, and vice versa. We could have artists from Philippines and Thailand coming into Pangolin and get discovered, and maybe Malaysian buyers can see that. So hopefully, we will help all the various artists that want to do through the marketing initiatives that we're putting out right now. We are slowly going through, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff, and we're spending, more on digital advertising right now to increase the visibility of NFT projects to global buyers. So that's how we can help, local artists cecah masuk dunia lah, basically. Daripada nak just stay within buyers in Malaysia, kan? Because buyers kat Malaysia tak cukup volume, tak cukup tinggi.
Agree. Yeah, of course, NFT, it's all about supply and demand. Everything is about supply and demand. And then, for me personally, NFT is not just about the art, but then the utilities behind that. So this is something that a lot of creators need to understand. Sometimes the community don't just want the art; they want something more than that.
I think for Pangolin, in some ways, we're looking at infrastructure and ecosystem. So it's not enough for us to just be an NFT marketplace. We're looking at, even with Irshad from Pentas, we've been discussing recently about, tools that we could actually empower the extension of what happens beyond NFT marketplace. And so we're working on a list of partners. Katakan, sebagai artis NFT, you are the utility, and it's great that you boleh, offer that utility kepada orang. But at the same time, if I am the retailer offering that utility, macam mana dia nak capture that transaction on their point of sale system for their business? So we need to look at, companies like Imbas.io or Elevated or maybe SummerScan, who builds products for that solution. And so bila jenama-jenama of brands or celebrities, come up with projects yang ada utility, there's already a complete ecosystem from the buyer and seller, and we facilitate that as a marketplace, right? There's a lot of great technologies that are being developed, the apps and all that stuff, and we are trying to work with the community to give more value back for them, So there's one party that we're going to talk to on Friday. They have utilities across the 20-30 brands across the world. And so we might be looking at making it a default thing. Any NFT artist that puts stuff on Pangolin, for example, could automatically, get benefits of this utility. So even if you're an artist and you don't have any utility, just because you list on Pangolin, you dapat automatic utilities to 20+ brands across the world. That's value that money cannot buy, and this is how we're looking at helping, a lot of the artists out there.
Yep. Interesting. I mean, this is something I think a lot of people has been waiting on the utility side.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Moving into the next question. How many active validators per session on Zetrix? Is there any prerequisite to become a validator?
Yeah, I think this is a question for Adam.
Yeah, so I'll be glad to enlighten you guys. So at the moment, there are 221 validator nodes that's running on Zetrix network right now, and about 21 is used to validate transactions per session. And the requirements are to stake at least 100K ZTX.
So 100K ZTX would be around $500,000 US.
Yeah.
So
all right,
that amount of Zetrix tokens as a node.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why we have a lot of global investors who are partnering with us to run the whole Zetrix network. So it's not just MyEG, but there's a whole bunch of other parties from around the world who don't probably, the easiest way for me to say it is like there's so many chains around the world, and it's very costly to build and maintain. And, and at the end of the day, it gets to a point where a lot of these blockchains out there are almost similar in terms of features. So there's no point, replicating or duplicating. So some of these parties do not want to go down the route of building their own chains. And so they look at, crowd sharing or crowdfunding and sharing that network together with MyEG when we develop Zetrix. Yeah.
All right. Okay. The next question. Was the plan for NFTPangolin to be sustainable in the crypto right now?
Well, I mean, we are constantly talking to companies from around the world. Today, I had a meeting with a company in Russia. Last week, I had a meeting with companies in Japan. And so it's really cool that we are getting a lot of partnerships and interest from companies and partners from around the world to look at growing this whole space. Because when I came into Pangolin last year, I said I didn't want it to just be another NFT marketplace in the world or in Malaysia. It's kind of funny because in the world right now you have close to about 200-300 NFT marketplaces, the whole world. In China alone, they have over 300 marketplaces just in one country. And that's insane. How do these NFT marketplaces even survive then? And in Malaysia, when we started off, actually Pentas and Pangolin were the first two that got into the market. But within a few months after that, we were laughing about it the other day. There was 9 or 10 other new marketplaces that came in just in a span of 3 to 4 months. And of course, the problem there is, when you look at the current NFT market punya industry globally, even OpenSea is having more than 90% sales drop. And so how would those companies survive? The lucky thing for Pangolin is because we are a subsidiary of MyEG, we don't have to worry about funding, you know what I mean? We're not a startup company that needs to raise enough money to survive and grow. We have enough funds to sustain for a very long time. And so then the question mark for NFT artists is, if you went on a different NFT platform, and what happens when the NFT platform, cannot sustain itself and has to close down? what happens to your NFTs? What happens to, you know, your assets, right? And so you want to look at partners that you can work with on a very long-term basis, right? Because we have spent millions of dollars building Zetrix. We have spent millions of dollars building NFT Pangolin. And obviously we are not going to stop spending because development, if you look at Pangolin's features right now, is not even the full-blown features that I am going to launch yet. We have, you know, phase 5 and phase 6 development plans right now being done. I'm already starting to work on phase 7, which is for the games industry, and phase 8 for the metaverse, you know, virtual world industry. So we're going to keep on building really important features that supports NFT artists, as we realize that it's just not artists as well. We look at NFTs being used in industry applications. So how do we support that? Give you one example. My EG has launched a COVID insurance as an NFT. Now everybody was like, yeah, macam mana tu? Insurance for COVID as an NFT, semua garuk kepala sekejap, kan? There's no digital art, but we're using NFT technology to power an insurance. And that's a very powerful thing for people to understand, because there's so many ways for you to use NFT technology, right? And so these are the cool things that we're doing, right? In terms of feature development that we're doing, you know, we're coming up with support for physical art. We're looking at support for generative artists, you know, to do bulk uploading and bulk minting, because I'm going through the pain right now using OpenSea to upload large collections. I have one artist that we have, Johnny NFT. He's got 8,800 NFTs, 8,888 NFTs. Utility dia gempak gila. And it's for lifetime. And it's a global utility juga. Ada villa kat Bali, ada shopping mall in China, cruise ships, ada one whole building with 200 Japanese outlets dekat tepi Sheraton PJ. You know, langkah Sheraton tu, famous langkah Sheraton tu, betul sebelah tu. Ada 50 Japanese restaurant, ada medical centers and all that stuff. And just by owning this one NFT, you have access to all of these utilities from all around the world. And it's insane, can? And he's building so many more things, can? So, but if I have to upload thousands of NFTs, especially generative art, one by one, it's time consuming. That logic, kan? If we can do bulk upload through Google Drive, kenapa kita tak boleh buat bulk upload through an NFT marketplace? Logic, kan? So we're building things. When I speak to a lot of artists, they tell me feedback, and you know, in terms of what would be helpful features for them to have. We're building an e-commerce element into the marketplace. You know, we're looking at possibly, you know, minimizing the pain of using crypto pay, and maybe looking at ways that, you know, we can accept payments in other currencies as well, right? So there's all these features yang you know, we want to develop and show you guys what we can do. And I just cannot wait for those features to come out, because I think people will be like quite, you know, excited to see it. Right now, you can do almost similar to OpenSea. We have unlockable content. You know, we have ways to do utility punya descriptions, kind of stuff. You know, so all these things are kind of cool. You know, you have the Zetrix wallet, which is powered by Zetrix, which is similar to MetaMask. And so we can do NFT airdrops and stuff like that as well. So banyak lah, a lot of features yang, you know, will be supportive to the NFT artists out there.
Okay, that's really exciting to hear about the future development and features coming. And I mean, since you're talking about the mint process, is there anything or any tutorial or for those upcoming artists? How do they do that? I mean, is there any tutorial or what?
It depends on which marketplace you nak guna, because kita ada dua. So katakan you nak guna the OpenSea one that we have running on Ethereum, for example. That one we have to do it for the artist. That process is a bit more complex, because we have to set up a custodian wallet for the artist. The reason for that is because there is a configuration between OpenSea and Pangolin, in order for us to pull the data to appear on Pangolin. So kalau and so we have to add our Pangolin punya wallet address into the custodian wallet juga, and all the artists yang kita ada within Pangolin on their website are sharing that same wallet. So that's why we have different wallets for different artists, but it's using the same private key just to link to Pangolin collection on OpenSea. So it gets very technical and complicated. That's why we have to do it for the artists. But for Zetrix, you can do it yourself. So the tutorial for Zetrix on how to use the Zetrix marketplace, semua ada kat footer of the website. Ada text that says get started. So if you click that get started kat bawah, at the bottom of the page, it will lead you to all the PDF files that teaches you step by step in terms of how to create a Zetrix wallet, how to buy or get Zetrix tokens, how to connect the wallet to Pangolin and upload content, how to put stuff for auction, and also for what's the last one? For buyers. For how would buyers believe NFT on Pangolin? So all those guys are already there. And we also have how do I say content, video content on our TikTok, and even those content, the video guides are available or uploading sekarang in 5 different other languages, in Vietnamese language, in Filipino language, in Chinese Mandarin, in Indonesia and Thai, and so and of course English. So ada 6 bahasa for those guides. Why? Because we want artists from even other countries to be able to use NFT Pangolin. And if those artists become successful as well, they could end up becoming buyers for Malaysian artists in NFTs. So that's why we're making the effort, investment to do that kind of stuff.
So there's already a comprehensive guide already listed in the the info. Okay. All right. Still in the NFT question.
Sure.
Can you share more about on the zero listing fee?
Oh yeah, because we have a feature called lazy minting, similar to OpenSea, kan? So lazy minting means you can publish your NFT and pay 0 gas fees. It's only bila there is a buyer, dia beli the NFT, then only the gas fees appear for the minting. And again, it's the buyer who pays for the minting fees, not the seller. So you as an NFT artist can put up your stuff with 0 cost on NFT Pangolin. And when there is a buyer, the buyer is the one yang bayar the NFT punya minting fees and gas fees lah. And if you're minting on Zetrix, the gas fee is like 0.01 Zetrix. So that works out to 50 sen or something like that. Bunyi lah kecil. 50 sen RM, that's the gas fee, right? None of the Ethereum berpuluh-puluh, US dollar punya gas fee, and again, even on the Ethereum OpenSea punya marketplace for Pangolin, that gas fee is, again, we can do lazy minting. So it's like OpenSea lah, you can upload and select lazy minting, and again, bila buyer yang beli, baru it gets minted, and the buyer bayar the gas fee. So it's no cost to the artist at all.
Okay, all right. It's quite cheap lah. I mean,
yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Adam has worked really hard to make it really cheap. So
yeah, so that's really respectable. All right. Okay. Moving into the next question. Is there any possibility to develop with Zetrix chain?
Oh yeah. Oh, a very good question. And I think this one is something that Adam, will be able to also add a bit more, but I give a bit of a preview. So Zetrix has not publicly announced yet, but coming soon. And this is a big announcement. We have a grant that we're going to give out to developers who want to develop the apps or other apps that can be built using Zetrix punya blockchain. And so we'll be announcing that maybe I think next month or the month after. I'm not sure. Adam will elaborate a bit more in a short while. Let me hand it over to him. Let him, speak.
Yeah. So I mean, I think if you look at the Zetrix ecosystem as a whole, people might think that Zetrix is more focused on like enterprise blockchain services, stuff like that. But I would just like to note that Zetrix is still a layer 1 blockchain that enables anybody to develop Web3 services and applications on the ecosystem. So essentially, we would like to have the local talents in Malaysia to assist in developing Web3 services, not only just specific to the decentralized economy, but also bridging it into the real world economy as well for enterprises and stuff like that. So with the grant, we are essentially trying to accelerate the Web3 development in Malaysia, and we're looking to use these Web3 services to help accelerate all the enterprise that requires the blockchain solutions. So if you look at, as I say, supply chain traceability, there are a lot of key data points that goes into the whole process, right? So you have to track, let's say, the raw ingredients, and then from there, how it's transferred and to other industries and how it's managed and handled and packaged. So there are a lot of applications that can be built. And I think this is a good opportunity for local talents in Malaysia to assist in helping the Malaysian economy grow in terms of participating and contributing via developing Web3 services. So what we're would be announcing sometime soon is the grant, where we would provide some funding to help give birth to new projects that require the resources. And also, we also like to extend some of our resources, where we are working with MIMOS, subsidiary of the Kementerian for Information and Technology Services. And also, we are working with the Chinese developers in order to essentially have all this information be used in the digital economy, where we can connect with China's blockchain, and we can also speak to the Malaysian blockchain as well. And our initiatives ideally is to expand these blockchain networks into the regional comprehensive economic partnership countries. So you can say like Australia, Thailand, Vietnam. Eventually, we would ideally one day set up nodes there, and we would have one blockchain to communicate with other countries and transfer data seamlessly and safely, securely. So yeah, with the grant, I think we are rolling it out in stages. We are offering like 10 to 15, we're awarding 10 to 15 grants to up and coming blockchain projects with like proof of concept or an MVP that just needs a little bit of push to essentially become a fully comprehensive application. So that's essentially what the grant is for, and hopefully we can also contribute to the development of the ecosystem.
Yeah, it can be in fun areas as well, right? Be it business, be it lifestyle, for retail, or for games, or for music industry, or media content industry, or something like that. Anything really. It's down to the developer's creativity. Of course, we will evaluate all these things. In addition to the grant, my other good friend Dato' Faz from MX Global also, has told me that they will be looking at creating an investment fund as well. And so if some of those projects that are funded or under the grant and the Zetrix could eventually also get additional funding, or could even bypass the grant and go straight for investment funding if they're more mature from this fund through MX later on. And so which is kind of great, because we want to support, a lot of technology innovation. And so I think this would be very, very interesting for companies out there.
So currently, like how many or already on the Zetrix chain?
How many?
How many projects or development or apps?
So Pangolin is the first flagship project using Zetrix Blockchain, but it doesn't stop there. Of course, we are building other things as well using the Zetrix Blockchain. But rather than us just building stuff, internally, right? Like mentioned the COVID insurance thing, that's probably another product. We have our Compare insurance product as well, right? That's also partly using either Zetrix or our MyDC coin, right? And there's a lot of things that we're doing, but of course, we look at how do I say, the application of Zetrix for certain e-government users, right? What's to stop, or propose from us to propose, say, your vaccine certificate in MySejahtera to be put on blockchain and put Zetrix, support that, kan? Or maybe one day JPJ kata, kita nak blockchain kan number plate kereta, so next time you nak beli number plate, semua kena beli as NFT. Boleh juga, So we, of course, those are the cool projects that we could do, but we also want to look at other projects that could be really fun. Hello? Sorry, I got cut off from my screen, but I hope you can still hear me somehow.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
So, and be able to look at the community, the developer community out there, who wants to come up with really cool products and they need a blockchain to use. And, you could try with Tezos, you could try with Solana, you could try with Polygon, but there's pros and cons lah with all these blockchains, kan? So my usual advice is do your own research lah, but don't exclude Zetrix from that list, because if you discover how strong Zetrix punya layer as a layer 1 is, maybe you might consider using our chain as well. And I think, cross-chaining is also an area that we're looking. Why? Because we do want cross-compatibility with other chains. So there are parties out there who have already developed ways to bridge certain chains or allow for seamless swapping on the air, lightning speed, So you could come in with Solana, but then switch to Zetrix straight away to their platforms, So this could be another partner that we could be adding on to Pangolin later on, so that, we make it easy for people to use blockchain, right? Rather than it just being very exclusive to the techie people out there, So this is something that we are looking at. I think, I just want to add that education is also a very important part to this thing. And I'm really happy to look and see, my Sekolah Crypto doing really great stuff in this space. But even for that, we're looking at developing an education app to bring the typical makcik-makcik, pakcik-pakcik out there to learn about crypto and blockchain, right? I can easily teach, people about crypto and blockchain. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah.
Hello? Yep.
Yeah.
Boleh.
Yeah, I can teach people about NFT, metaverse, crypto, and blockchain in under 1 minute. And aunties and uncles can understand it. And that's a very hard thing to do, then, because there's so many technical elements to all these components that work as a whole. But if they don't understand how everything is connected, then they susah nak faham konsep-konsep crypto kita orang. So I use a very simple analogy of pergi ke showroom kereta lah. You nak beli kereta baru, you pergi ke showroom kereta, right? So you masuk Proton or Pro 2 punya showroom. So the showroom is your NFT marketplace, right? The kereta-kereta in the showroom is all your NFT assets, right? Because every car is unique. Ada chassis number, ada engine number yang unique, ada color-color lain, ada model-model lain, kan? So all those are your NFTs. Kalau you nak beli kereta tu, you kena guna duit. So the duit is the crypto, kan? Tapi macam ni nak prove ownership of the kereta bila you beli? Ada grant lah. So your grant, where does the record of that grant sit? dengan JPJ punya database. So JPJ database is your blockchain. Kan? Semua rekod blockchain dalam JPJ punya sistem. Right? Tapi you dapat grant tu, so that's your block explorer lah. Bila you check your transaction record, okay, ada beli kereta ni, engine number ni, JC number ni, number plate ni, dah register on JPJ punya blockchain, dan certificate ni as proof of ownership. Right? Dan orang tanya, oh, mana metaverse? Dia dapat kunci kereta, start kereta, jalan keluar keluar showroom tu, bawa dalam dunia, that's your metaverse lah. Kan? So bila explain macam tu, oh, damn man, senang faham, you know. Inilah cool, you know. I dah faham macam mana crypto jalan, you know, how NFT punya konsep, or even the transaction element, even minting, lazy minting pun ada guna analogy tu. Yeah? So this is where we need to sort of slowly educate, but in a manner yang diorang buat, because banyak content dah exist kan in the world. There's a lot like macam whiteboard crypto ke, you know, CoinDesk lah, all this stuff kan, but orang baca tapi tak buat. So selagi dia tak experience, dia ingat susah. But if we can make them experience and buat, and they orang discover that actually tak adalah susah sangat, senang pun, then adoption of crypto or of blockchain or even NFT kat Malaysia, kita can reach, you know, majority of the population, not just people yang, you know, main crypto je. Kan? I punya target is to at least get, you know, 1-2 juta Malaysians to be new users of NFTs and crypto and blockchain, in eventually the metaverse juga. Because kalau kita tak buat benda tu, sebagai negara kita akan ketinggalan. You know, so working with partners like macam My Sekolah Crypto for example, I think a lot of things can be done. Kan? Lagi banyak orang yang dapat tahu, dapat belajar. Yeah. So education is a very important part.
Betul. Actually, itu one of our sekolah crypto punya goal lah, actually, to educate people. I mean, speaking of adoption, adoption, education always go hand in hand. I mean, and since we're talking about Malaysia, does actually Zetrix is the official Malaysian blockchain service, or is it?
Well, I mean, it can be used as a national blockchain because the blockchain is just so big. So we could always portion off the blockchain for use for the government, for national blockchain. But the blockchain network is around the world. Kan? And so other people could have other use cases for the blockchain, for halal supply trade, finance, punya infrastructure, for example. We could look at loans or micro or funding as a funding or loan mechanism to SMEs, for example, using the tokens yang ada, because we have 2.1 billion Zetrix tokens. We're only releasing the first billion right now, and so there's a lot of tokens to go around, and you know, and all these tokens can be then, you know, wrapped or customized in other ways as well, right? So that you could have a private blockchain of Zetrix, for example. That can be done, you know. So there's, like I said, you know, if somebody comes up with a great idea for blockchain, rather than building another chain, they can just piggyback, right? So that artist yang I mentioned, Johnny NFT tu, yang ada banyak utility tadi, he's developing his game, and he's using Zetrix as possibly for his in-game token. So as a game developer, dia dah jimat berapa juta tu. He doesn't need to build a chain. He can just use ours and, you know, save a lot of investment and build a really great game using our blockchain technology, you know. So that's what I hope to see, you know, in conversation dengan banyak orang. Yalah, banyak debate about, oh, I punya chain lagi power daripada you punya chain, you know. It doesn't matter really, because bila you tengok down the road, it's a question whether there'll be other chains coming up. You get me? Kalau somebody pergi token 2049, everybody was promoting their own chain. The question mark is apa guna? You know, apart from the more famous ones lah, like Cardano, Solana, all that stuff lah, you know, Polygon, Ethereum, yeah. But other chains susah nak launch lah unless they really are doing something really different. And even sekarang pun, maybe we're in the era sekarang ni where we might not even be using blockchain anymore, in the next few years, because blockchain could be replaced by DEX. And if blockchain gets replaced by DEX, then everybody has to learn about DEX pula, So technology is constantly evolving. We just have to keep up in some way and hopefully find a commercial business use case for it. And if it fits and it doesn't cost you anything, why not?
Betul. Sebab of course about this right now is a very fast moving technology, and this there's a lot of confusion. And in terms of adoption again, for the government, how much is the support from the government on this blockchain or Web 3.0 ecosystem, and when do you think is actually the government is ready to fully utilize this blockchain technology, for example in pilihan raya ke or anything?
Soalan cukup sensitif. Topic of the moment. Well, the government is very supportive, and we have great politicians like even people like KJ, Tony Pua, and a few others who are very familiar with blockchain. You'd be surprised, even Bukit Aman police, their cybercrime division, the people running that division, otai-otai kat situ, even right up to the chief, strangely has been in the blockchain space longer than me. They've been doing it for 8-9 years already. I baru 7-8 tahun. So they know more about crypto and blockchain and cybercrime daripada kita orang. Otai ni, polis ni.
Otai.
So of course the government has been looking at blockchain for quite a few years, but the only my personal view of that was they were just using it macam buzzword lah, blockchain, tapi tak masuk mendalam. When you tanya macam mana you guna blockchain tu, which blockchain are you using, tak ada jawapan, until when they had even when we had another blockchain, I can't remember the name, last time we had a Malaysian based blockchain last time, right? Yang tu pun tak menjalan, right? Even though it was at one point top 10 in the world as a blockchain, and yet that company is no longer really anywhere in the top 10 anymore. So we have to look at educating people on how to use blockchain and how to use NFTs or how to use crypto or digital currencies, because if central bank kita buat dia central bank digital coin, then it's like macam the era masa COVID lah, orang tak tahu macam nak scan QR code, terpaksa belajar guna Mas Sejahtera, right? And tak boleh nak keluar pergi beli shopping, kena belajar online shopping pula, and kalau tak tahu buat online shopping, kena buat online payment nak bayar shopping tu, so we have to go through that process of getting the mass population, kita punya rakyat marahin kita ni lagi familiar and comfortable and how do I say, mahir in using this new technology, because like it or not, satu dunia ni akan move in that direction. So sooner or later you can belajar. Might as well you belajar dengan kita orang lah, belajar dengan sekolah kripto and NFTPangolin, kononnya, right? So inshallah, I feel that we have to cover blockchain punya education even in sekolah, because the future generation akan guna this kind of how do I say, technology down the line. So kalau budak-budak sekolah guna these technologies, then we
Hello?
Oh, kita dah hilang. Hello, Cik Johan.
Okay, I think just to follow up with that, I think the most important emphasis is the education of blockchain technology itself lah. So we have to like remove the conception of like crypto and PK pasal that speculative part of the crypto assets semua, and more focus on what blockchain technology can do and how it can contribute using like the distributed ledger network lah. So that's something that we think is going to be somewhat a friction for, let's say, government and commercial sectors will need to try and learn. But I think as we progress with seeing the applications become much more, you can say, easier to use. So I think over time, as the technology develop, that's something that we can slowly transition in, but definitely needs to be introduced at an early stage lah, on how blockchain technology works, at least understand the fundamentals, and then from there, the transition of, let's say, using a wallet, a decentralized wallet, a non-custodial wallet to each user can be done.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I perasan ada banyak soalan yang kita belum sempat jawab lagi.
Okay.
You want us to quickly cover some of those questions?
Yeah. The next one, I think we talk about on the ZTX coin lah.
Yeah. Oh, but you asked me about the using the blockchain for voting.
Oh yeah.
Soalan cipu mas tu kena jawab tu. So I don't know. I mean, it depends on government and at the same time the political parties. Like Zetrix has Zetrix verifiable ID punya function or feature, and what's stopping some of these political parties to adopt using this verifiable ID punya feature to make sure that their members are real from a top level perspective kan. Kalau you ambil macam say Amanah ke Bersatu ke UMNO, regardless lah, MIC ke MCA ke DAP, if the bosses of these political parties adopt using blockchain for their party membership, then maybe we can move one step closer to the using the blockchain for voting, because we did that with our Miss Universe campaign recently. We showed that you can actually vote using NFTs, and so so it's not the technology, but it's the political will and the rakyat and parliament and the politics that have to move along to agree to using such a infrastructure. Kalau you tengok kat US pun, kalau United States pun tak nak guna. Kenapa? Because mungkin kat sana ada corruption ke, ada dia orang punya side ada tak nak transparent sangat siapa yang voting, mungkin ada phantom voters ke, and this is in US, not Malaysia, kan? So kalau dia orang tak nak the thing to be transparent for the voters, then takkan jadilah, rakyat nak tapi politician tak nak, so apa kita boleh buat?
Betul.
The technology is already there. The technology has been there for like lama dah. Cuma nak buat ke tak nak buat, yang tu je yang beza.
Okay. Betul. Agree. Okay. One last round lah actually. I think last one topic ni is about ZTX coin. Macam how can we get, or is it through any DEX or any SEX about staking, smart contracts on ZTX? I mean, can you explain on that? Share with.
Sure.
I can take that if you want.
Adam.
Yeah, so ZTX coin right now is only available on our swap. So if you head over to swap.zetrix.com, you can actually buy ZTX coin using USDT or Ethereum. So right now we're currently working to work with third-party exchanges, and obviously because we just became Malaysia's national blockchain, so we have to try and see where's the best place to position our initial sale of ZTX coin. So we're still discussing on that. Temporarily, DEX, we do not have that yet. I think we believe, because we haven't officially launched the token yet. So I think we're gonna release Atmos on the SEX first. And then in terms of staking, we do have a staking platform that we launched. It's called zefi.club, zefi.club, CLUB. Yeah, so over there you can essentially stake your ZTX and then earn passive yield over time. Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting, like, you know, for Zetrix right now, because it's not a listed token yet, so it's only one way transaction. And but once, you know, I think timeline wise could be anywhere between the next few months or even sooner. Wait for the announcements. we will announce it publicly. You know, and once that is available, then you get a two-way you know, trading lah for the Zetrix tokens. So we have to look at slowly getting Zetrix token listed on, you know, centralized exchanges or the regulated exchanges as well. But that requires a lot of communication with Securities Commission to get the approval. So all these things are things that are happening in the background, which is why we're so busy constantly, you know, trying to make sure that things move. So there was a approach where, you know, we are looking at how can we look at even swapping, because we need liquidity in the market to a certain extent as well. So maybe the DEX part could come in later on. We don't know, you know, but subject to the DEX also wanting to put Zetrix on there.
Okay, all right. How about the smart contract?
Smart contracts. I mean, you know, we're running. Okay, so another interesting announcement that we can share with you. Bonus announcement. So for the developers and for the NFT, you know, techie side of the NFT space, we are going to be running. So if you attend the JOM launch event next week, where, you know, I will also be speaking over there with Irshad. I think if either Irshad or Mo from Pentas, we're speaking at the JOM launch premier event, and what that leads to is the hackathon that we're going to create after that JOM launch for people to participate. And then that also leads to an incubator and accelerator program for us to, you know, develop more products and all that stuff. So the smart contract element can be incorporated into the hackathon. Because right now you can build smart contracts with no code. You know, there are tools out there for you to drag and drop and build smart contract. So, you know, of course it's not a Malaysian tech, but, you know, it already exists in the world. And so, you know, and you got a lot of smart contract programs. When it comes to Pangolin as a marketplace, we have a standardized smart contract to deploy. So for example, I will use back Johnny NFT as another example. He wanted to do on Polygon, so we deployed a smart contract for him on OpenSea. By just importing the smart contract, automatically his collection was on OpenSea. And we can do stuff like that. The more complicated smart contracts, we're looking at, you know, even sub smart contracts, or parent, child, and grandchild smart contracts as well. Because we feel that NFT technology will eventually have use cases for those kind of smart contracts as well. So all these things are very interesting stuff that we're doing. You know, right now we are testing with a concept whereby, you know, we just launched Eclipse NFT with the issuer as an NFT artist, Nifty Eclipse. We just launched it baru 2 hari lepas on the Zetrix NFTPangolin marketplace. And we are trying to see whether people are willing to buy an NFT to win, you know, to maybe get a chance to be given an iPhone. And so, you know, you pay something like 200 ringgit, and you could be one of 30 people that could get an iPhone and other prizes as well. And so, you know, and of course, there's a whole campaign, 3-year campaign for this. It starts off with the iPhone, but you could eventually win car or motorbike, Harley motorbike, you know, or 1 million ringgit condo, you know, by just owning these NFTs. So as the first 30 punya NFTs ni, the only thing I'm going to say, and this is not published anywhere, it'll be very, very rare lah. Dia punya value akan naik gila-gila lah later on. You know, dalam masa 33 tahun ni. You know, so ada 30 je. So far, you know, ada 1 or 2 people yang dah beli. And I think within the next few days, mungkin more people will start buying those NFTs as well as we start promoting it more. But the whole idea here is to get people excited about NFTs again. If it's not because of the art, is because of what they can get if they buy. Utility is only one part of it. Kan? I think utility pun dah mula start to get very saturated. Everybody is doing utility stuff sekarang. So maybe by the end of the year, utilities are tak cool. Then what next for next year? You know, we only have like another 2 more months or 2-3 months before the end of the year. Kan? So maybe by 2023, we see applications of NFTs in industry pula, in retail, in fashion, in medical, in insurance, in finance, you know. And so maybe that's the next trend, you know. And so anybody in the space has to get creative juga lah, you know. I'm not saying this to marginalized artists. I do feel that, you know, we are at an era where we are seeing really, really great creative talent being done in the world. Sometimes I think certain designs at OpenSea or Rarible or, you know, Mintable or other NFT marketplaces, gempak gila, you know. And I think NFTs has pushed the creativity of the creative industry. But does it apply to everybody else yang tak kreatif? Yes, right? If people appreciate art, great. But NFTs are going to be used in music, in movies, in you know, other areas as well nanti. And that's where it gets really fun for everybody.
Okay. Alright, I think kita pun dah lebih masa lah. Tapi soalan dia banyak lagi sebenarnya.
Tak kisah, I boleh extend. Kalau you nak extend, I extend. I sanggup. Yeah. Kalau you punya audience sanggup stay lagi, I on je.
Oh, ya ke? Okay lah. Kita ada some additional question lah. I mean, for Malaysian, I mean, is there any, they're looking for any opportunities in this, or I mean, job opportunities, or with MyEG, or even with Zetrix, NFT, or anything?
Oh, banyak. Bersepah bro. We need a lot of great people. Cuma masalahnya, talent dekat Malaysia, you kena faham evolution lah kan. Somebody like me datang dari Web 0 to Web 1 to Web 2, sekarang Web 3, you know, and maybe Web 4 later on. And so a lot of the tech talent or in the people working in Malaysia banyak datang dari Web 2 punya space. Yang mahir dalam Web 3, diorang cari makan not just locally, diorang cari makan overseas. Banyak buat freelance project kat Dubai, kat China, kat US, kat Europe, because they get paid a lot of money over for those projects. Freelancers, Malaysians, they buat freelance project banyak kat luar negara. And so bila companies local in the Web3 space, not just Pangolin, but you know, a lot of the Web3 companies yang ada, even Pentas for that matter, or you know, Chain Analysis ke, ataupun Etherscan ke, you know, nak hire orang, punyalah siksa, because applicant nak gaji tinggi, and that's a problem. And then kalau kita nak hire orang dari Web 2 yang tak mahir Web 3, personality ataupun behavior market Web 3 ni lain sikit, kepala otak dia lain sikit. So kalau I ambil orang Web 2, dia takkan tahu macam mana nak buat benda untuk say marketing for Web 3. Web 3 punya marketing, you tengok dia tak guna digital marketing sangat, dia guna, you know, Twitter lah, you know, Twitter Spaces lah, Discord lah, Twitch lah, you know, Instagram pun dia tak pandang, you know. And so kalau saya ambil orang yang mahir in marketing web 2 untuk buat marketing kat web 3, mungkin dia akan gelabah je. So susah nak cari orang yang ada kemahiran yang ada ketepatan lah, and so it's a very tedious process. Memang ramai orang minat, and I don't mind hiring somebody yang tak ada kemahiran tu tapi sanggup belajar. And kita boleh train because we know that banyak talents yang ada kat Malaysia, banyak superstar kita ada. And for my EG, because kita ada 7 different subsidiaries, dalam Web3 punya space ni, memang macam-macam position lah ada, so kalau ada yang minat, bolehlah drop me a line, kalau aku kena gejakkan kepala, scan lah QR code yang ada kat background I ni, you boleh dapat my contact details and you boleh emailkan, you punya resume to us, ataupun you can go through the website and apply for the jobs, right? We're always looking for people, and we know other companies yang kita geng juga dalam Web3 space ni pun semua tengah susah cari orang. So I tak tahu mana orang sembunyi. Kalau ada yang minat, sila tunjukkan muka you and apply.
Okay. Kita ramai komuniti sekolah kripto ni sebenarnya.
That's, I want to give them a chance kan, because boleh buat secara sambilan, tak ada masalah, but at the same time you nak binakan you punya resume kuat kan, so you have to start somewhere and give us a shot lah, why not?
Okay. Rasanya dekat situ saja kot kita punya session for today.
Ada soalan nak nampak apa? NFTPangolin based in Telco.
Betul.
Yeah, kat My EG Tower dekat Damansara Garden side Empire City.
Ada kat situ kan.
Pasti. Kat yang mana ada ice skating ring kan. Kat situ.
Okay.
And yes, we do ada physical event coming soon. So kalau you ikut kita punya social media punya channels on Facebook or Instagram, or our Twitter, kita akan announce the physical programs kat situ lah. So boleh kita jumpa face to face juga anytime. And apa lagi yang you all nak tahu, boleh tanya offline pun boleh. Niza, soalan tu I boleh jawab lah.
Yeah, also don't, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to visit our Telegram channel, Zetrix Official. Then we can maybe help you guys answer any inquiries you guys still ada lah. So
banyak information about Zetrix is on zetrix.com lah. Siapa yang minat nak tengok developer punya notes, information macam mana nak develop products on Zetrix, they boleh refer to zetrix.com.
Okay, alright. Itulah sebagai penutup. Thank you so much to Encik Adam, Encik Johan, for willing to spend your time to answer a lot of our questions. I mean, it's
anytime.
I mean, it's really insightful. I mean, and inspiring for all of us. In the people will see the recording, and then I mean, we hope. I mean, to have a more collaboration or even more events together with my EG and everything in the future.
Definitely.
Okay, and then
follow each other on social media lah. Nanti kita we plan the meetup.
We will do some promotional untuk my EG, Pangolin, Zetrix, and everything.
Thank you.
Okay, and then lastly, just want to share lah. I mean, sekolah kripto ni kita ada buku, kita create kan satu buku ni. Tak tahu nampak tak?
Nampak. Pasal background. Okay, WAPMI. Okay, nampak.
WAPMI ni kan. Nampak buku ni lah. Jadi sebagai token penghargaan, kita akan hantar nantilah.
Okay.
Buku ni kepada.
InsyaAllah kalau jumpa kat office pun boleh bagi handover, ambil gambar behind our WAPMI punya neon sign. Kita ada WAPMI punya neon sign kat office. So cantik lah.
Okay. Nanti memang kita mungkin akan buat. Boleh arrange lah in the future.
Alright, awesome.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, again Cik Johan, Cik Adam.
Terima kasih Sekolah Kripto
thank you
juga.
Sekolah Kripto.
Okay, and I think that's all for today. Let's end this session tonight. Thank you so
Alright.
much, and we will see each other in the future soon. Hopefully, we wish my EG the best,
Thank you.
develop, and also to improve or expand this technology, not just in Malaysia, but to the region and to the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Inshallah, we can do that together. Inshallah.
All right. Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much. And then
Welcome everybody.
have a good night.
All right.
Assalamualaikum.
Thanks for watching. Bye.